This swampy bucket is actually liquid gold for your garden. And it costs pretty much nothing to make, other than maybe a bucket and a little bit of compost. And that's what's really cool about this project today. It doesn't require a lot of materials or a lot of equipment. All you need is a 5-gallon bucket, some compost and manure, some worm castings, and a little bit of water. What's cool about this is that there's actually a couple different ways that you can make what we're about to make today. We're gonna be making a compost tea, well, more like an extract than a tea rather, but it's all pretty much the same. There's 3 different options on the way that you can make this. Option 1 is a compost extract like we're gonna be making today. Option 2 is more of a quick compost wash. And what you're gonna do with that is you're gonna take about 2 cups of your composted manure or worm castings to about 1 to 2 gallons of water. Once you have all that mixed together, you wanna go ahead and stir really, really well for about 3 to 4 minutes. After you stir it up for a few minutes, you then wanna go ahead and strain it and then apply immediately. This is pretty much just a liquid compost, fast, simple, but still powerful. For option 3, it's gonna be pretty much the same thing as option 2 and the compost extract we're doing, except with option 3, if you have yourself an air pump, which is gonna be great for this project actually, you can go ahead and also add natural, organic, regular molasses. That molasses is gonna be like rocket fuel for the microbes. Add it to your little compost tea here, and the microbes reproduce like crazy. Now add in your air pump to that for ultimate aeration, and just watch your tea explode as all those good microbes dominate everything. I myself don't have an air pump, so I won't be doing it that way. We'll be doing option 1, the compost extract, which I'm going to show you here in a little bit. We're going back to option 3 with the molasses and the air pump, because without the air, microbes will just suck up oxygen too fast, and then it flips anaerobic, meaning slime, stink, and bad bacteria. You don't want that. So if you have yourself an air pump, that's perfect. You can also add molasses, like I said, for the rocket fuel for the microbes and get them going like crazy. So, rule of thumb. If you have an air pump, go ahead and add you some molasses. If you don't have an air pump, skip the molasses and do what we're gonna do today, a compost extract. Let me show you how we're gonna do that. All right, now, so for option 1, the compost extract that we'll be making today, just like I said in the last couple of options, very simple. You wanna fill up your 5-gallon bucket with some water. Once you got all the water in your bucket, go ahead and grab you a cup. This was actually a mealworm container that was for my chickens. We used it all, so I went ahead and washed it out. It's about the size of a cup, something to measure with. You want a cup's worth. You can also add the worm castings with the compost and manure. So with 5 gallons worth of water, I'm gonna add 2 cups of composted manure and then 2 cups of worm castings. So 4 cups total to about 5 gallons of water. Now, if you have yourself a mesh bag or some kind of nylon, you can put your compost and worm castings in that nylon or mesh bag. And just like an actual tea, you're gonna steep it in the water. If you don't have that, that's okay. You can also just throw it all in together. It really doesn't matter. Once you got everything in the bucket together, get yourself a stick, a big spoon, wooden ladle, or your arm even, and you wanna go ahead, like I said, and mix it all together really hard, vigorously. You wanna create as much air into this compost extract as possible. You wanna get that air flowing in there, get some bubbles created, lift up the water, mix everything around. Do that for about 3 to 5 minutes, steady. And then you want to repeat that process of stirring every few hours within a 24-hour period. We're going to let this sit for 24 hours, but because we don't have an air pump, we're going to have to stir this manually ourselves. That's why I said if you have the air pump, it's perfect for this, in which you can also add extra ingredients to get everything going. But we don't have an air pump, so we're keeping this very simple. Very, very simple and to the point. So every couple hours, I'd say about 4 to 5 hours, you want to come out and stir this up somehow and get as much air as possible throughout there. And again, we're going to let this sit for 24 hours. Now for nighttime, just do it once before you go to bed and then once more right away in the morning. And then after that, you'll add the application to your garden. If you're like me and you overthink things a little bit, I'll just tell you 4 to 5 stirs within a 24-hour period and you're golden. So don't stress it too much. Try not to overthink it, especially if you're new to this. That's why we're doing this today, so I can teach you guys how simple and easy this kind of stuff is, whether you're just growing regular plants on your apartment balcony or you got a big homestead and you're into learning new things. Either way, simple, but very, very effective for your crop. And just remember, if you have to stir this manually, The goal isn't gentle. You really want to get in there and splash this stuff around and get as much air in there as possible. That is the most important part of this, is aeration. If you let it sit stagnant for too long, that's when it starts stinking and slimy and you get the bad bacteria, and that's what we don't want. We want the good bacteria, the good microbes that benefit our garden. So just remember, if you have to stir it manually, stir it nice and good.
That's what she said.
So now that we have an idea, an understanding of what we're making and the idea and the purpose of what we're making is, let me go ahead and show you exactly how we're gonna make this compost extract. All right, now that we got our bucket filled up with water, let's take our little cup, let's add our worm castings and our little compost. I'm gonna do 2 cups of each, my 5 gallons of water. That gives you the idea of the ratio for this mixture. All right, so now that everything is added into our bucket, it's time to go ahead and start stirring this bad boy. I got myself a little tiny spoon here. That way I don't have to get my arm full deep inside this bad boy. But hey, you gotta do what you gotta do, right? Let's go ahead and stir this up. All right, now that we got everything nice and stirred up, really good, mixed really well, we're gonna go ahead and let this sit for 24 hours. Well, remember, you wanna come out every 4 to 5 hours and give it a good mix up like we just did. Couple pro tips: if you got a sweet, earthy smell, that means we got a good brew. If we got a sour and rotten smell, that means it went anaerobic and it's no good. Just go ahead and throw this on your compost bin. Do not put it on your plant. This concoction is more of a nutrient tea than a full-blown microbe party like it would be if you had the air pump and molasses. But it's safe, it's simple, and it's super effective for your garden and your plant. Now all we gotta do is wait 24 hours, and then we can go ahead and start dumping this in our garden bed. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Here we are. Next day, back with our little brew here. Yesterday, after I left you guys, we continue to stir this throughout the day, every few hours. Smelling earthy, smelling like dirt. I don't smell anything bad. So that means we got a good brew still going on. Right now, I'm gonna stir it one last time, get everything mixed up, and then we can go ahead and apply this into our garden bed. All right, now that we got it all nice and stirred up, we are ready to go ahead and add this into our garden bed. I got my little garden jug, garden water right here. I got a cup that I'm just gonna use to fill up this jug. It's about a 1 gallon jug. So this is gonna be perfect for my size of garden bed. Probably won't need more than a gallon. We'll see after I apply some. But what I'll do with the rest of this that I don't use is I'll just go ahead and throw it in my compost bin over there as to not waste any. This is also very beneficial for your compost bins to get everything fired up. So let's go ahead and fill our jug, apply it to our garden bed, and see how this stuff works. We got our gallon water jug here filled up. Let's go apply it to the garden bed. All right, here we are at the lovely garden bed, and let's just take a moment to admire this real quick. A little reminder of why we're doing this. I mean, look at these tomatoes here. I remember when these down here were just little tiny babies, nothing but a couple weeks ago. I'm just gonna take this moment to tell you all that this is what it's about, man. Coming out into your yard and seeing your own veggies, your own food that you're growing for you and your family, and knowing that you're taking that next step to a more self-sustainable lifestyle and providing for yourself, getting your freedom back. That's what this is all about. That's why we do this here, taking our freedom back and getting away from all that chaos out there. So we got our gallon water jug here, full to the top. Go ahead and add in our gallon of compost extract into this garden bed. All right, here we go. Added our 1 gallon pot of compost extract, and hopefully in about a week or so, we should start seeing a little difference in growth and all that good stuff. Remember, this is just a booster, more of a rapid release And what's really good about this compost extract is that your organic fertilizers that you add into your garden, this extract complements them well and can actually help the organic fertilizers release faster as well into the soil. So you get a double dosage all in one. Another cool thing about this extract is you can actually use it as a foliar spray too on the actual plant and not just for a regular waterer like I did. Once your extract is all done and you did the 24-hour cycle, you can either add it straight up like I did, or you can strain it out into a bottle and use it as a spray. So that's pretty neat. You got a lot of different uses for this compost tea extract that we made today. I mean, heck, just being able to turn your veggie scrap or some composting manure or worm castings that you might have laying around, turning that into a liquid fertilizer, it's just so cool. And it works way better than any store-bought fertilizer that you're gonna go and get. So why not? Simple, easy, and super effective. And that's the beauty about homesteading, is even in a tiny space, you can do this. And homesteading, like I said before, many times, isn't about the land. It's homesteading in your home, being self-sufficient and not reliant on the corporate greed that's going on in the outside world. So don't let anybody fool you. Homesteading isn't about having a lot of land and being a big farmer. Homesteading is about being self-sufficient and building your own freedom. So thank you all for tuning into the channel. Thank you all for watching another video on Mundo's Homestead Adventures. I hope you all learned something new today. I hope it can help you start that next step in your journey. And I'll see you all next week. Peace.